Hello, friends and family. Welcome to this edition of Today's Truth Revealed. I am the host, Elder Gibbs. I'm so glad that you took a moment out of your day to give us a listen. We are joined today by my very good friend, Ken from the Bronx. Ken from the Bronx. That's my
Thank you.
guy from the Bronx. We joined with Ken today, and we couldn't wait to get him back on. We had such a blast the last time. So welcome, Ken. Welcome back.
Thank you, Isaac.
All right. So listen, I uh I call Ken, but before we go any further, let me go to the Lord in prayer if that's okay.
Sure.
Uh Father, we just want to thank you for your goodness, mercy, and kindness. We thank you for allowing us to get together. We ask that you just bless this recording, bless those that tune in to hear. We ask that you just have your way, direct what we say and what we do, Lord. In the name of Jesus, we want to pray.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, so I called my man Ken. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some current events today. A lot going on, a whole lot going on. But for me, I just wanted to start with how about that Super Bowl last night? Not really the Super Bowl so much. It was kind of a dud. It was kind of a boring game, but I don't know if you're into football, Ken, but I never miss a a Super Bowl anyway. But lately, the over the years, the Super Bowl halftime show has been one of those events. We'll call it an event. First of all, there's a lot of sex trafficking that goes on, and some reports say that it has become the most sex trafficked night of the year, even that surpassing that of Halloween. And someone had figures and stats on that some years ago. But then, of course, there's other people that come out and say, no, that's not true. But nevertheless, it's a party time. The halftime show has been used for to in the spiritual realm to do things spiritually and sexually, because if you know anything about the occult, a lot of the occult mixes in a lot of sexual uh, perversion,
Right.
and they want to spread in the occult. They believe that the worse it gets, the faster the true Messiah will come. The worse things get, the more things get worse and worse, and people do bad things. They believe that the Messiah, they can actually dictate when the true Messiah will come. That's what the occult, that's what a lot of the
Who
rabbis
would be the
teach.
Antichrist?
The Antichrist, not the Christ that we know and
Right.
love,
Their
not
Christ.
that one, but their Christ.
Right.
And in their holy book, they refer to, and a lot of people don't know this, but they refer to their Messiah as the Holy Serpent. so, so it's interesting. But and then you've seen some snakes on the shows and different things. So it's
Mhm.
a lot of mess that goes on. Now, last night, in my opinion, Ken, it was a slap in the American face to do a show with this guy, Bad Bunny,
Lady
who
Gaga.
and Lady Gaga and another homosexual, Ricky Martin, okay, who uh, they did it all in Spanish. And in the number one American sport, they did it all in Spanish. I didn't know what they were saying. They could have put a curse on me. I don't know.
Well, let's stop there now. You've raised some
Yeah.
important personalities and again the stupid bowl and what a freak show it has turned into be. Who's the commissioner of National Football League?
What's his name?
Roger
Uh,
Goodell.
Roger Goodell. That's right. Yep.
He's from Jamestown originally, but there's a
Yeah.
Goldman in his family on his mom's
Mm.
side. So he, like Trump, he's probably at least half Jewish.
Yes. Yes.
Now, and let's go to all the other commissioners of the, not to digress too much from your main point here, because I think this is very important. The
Nice.
other three main, the four main sports are baseball, basketball, football, hockey. They
Yep.
all have Jewish or part Jewish commissioners. in a country that isn't even 2% Jewish. Baseball is Bobby Manfred. Basketball, even though it's 70, 80% black, has a Jewish commissioner in Adam Silver,
Always have.
right?
Yep.
If he weren't Jewish, one newsroom after another would be screaming for a black commissioner.
Yeah.
But because he's a Jewish commissioner,
It's
well, that's
okay.
okay. Then we get football in Goodell, and hockey is Gary Bettman.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't this incredible that we have football, which is about 70% black,
Yep.
and we have a Puerto Rican rapper
Yeah.
who performs with a Puerto Rican homosexual
Yep.
and I believe a bisexual in Lady Gaga, whatever her real name is. And these are supposed to be entertaining
Yeah.
football fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
what do we make of that?
don't forget to mention, I hear Bad Bunny is a bisexual himself.
Is that
So
right? Okay.
yeah,
His
yeah.
real
So
name is
and
Benito Ocasio.
yeah, and he's a cross-dressing bisexual. So you can see men don't move certain ways. Real men.
Unless,
you know,
right.
you and me, we don't walk like he, and move like he walked. Yeah, yeah. Little light in the loafers, we used to say, right? So this is what they're pushing on us, that this
Right.
culture of accept this, it's in your face. And then
Celebrate it.
it's
Don't just accept it. Celebrate
yeah,
it. Revel in it.
exactly.
Just
Yeah,
like what
yeah,
happened last night at halftime.
exactly. And it's a slap in the face, especially no one even knows you're just singing songs. You don't speak the language. No one in my whole living room, everybody was like, do you know
I
what
can
language?
see if it was in Puerto Rico
Yeah,
or
yeah,
DR or something. It's in,
yeah.
well, Mexifornia, formerly
Yeah.
California, now Mexifornia. But this is America, and only
Yeah,
about 10, 15% of the population speaks some kind of Spanish. So,
yeah,
like you said, it was more than a slap, it was
yeah.
a punch in the face
It was a
to
punch.
the American people. And it's no surprise coming from at least a part Jewish commissioner. He's the one
Yeah,
who invited him. And it's also political, obviously, because Ocasio is very anti ICE, anti
yeah,
immigration enforcement. Oh, you're doing this
yeah,
to my fellow Latinos. I don't care if they're in the country illegally. They are still my people. This is what he's probably
yeah,
thinking. And Goodell
yeah,
agrees with him. So he brings
yeah,
this rapper to rap in his language in our country. So
yeah.
it was an attack. I
It
wouldn't even
was.
call it a slap or a punch.
Yeah,
It was an
you're
attack on
right.
us and using the stupid ball to do it.
You are 100% right. But let me go back to something you were saying about the commissioners of all of these sports. Most of the owners in football are, guess what? They are Jewish.
Is that
Listen,
right?
folks. Yeah, most of them go to the from Dallas owner to the Davids out that used to own the Raiders. Remember, and they did not want Donald Trump in the club at first, right? Because he wasn't one of theirs. And they blocked that sale that he wanted. He wanted to buy the Buffalo Bills in 2014. They blocked the sale. They
Really?
got together and said, "You're not in this club." But he wanted to be in their club so bad, and he still wants to be in their club so bad.
You mean like
Go ahead.
the club of the football billionaires who own these teams?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Basically, they said you don't have enough money. You don't
No,
have enough money to be in this
really?
club. Yeah, yeah. So he told Stephen A. from ESPN that he was gonna come and run for president and get even with all of them. Well, we know that to be a big WWE wrestling acting job, right? He still wants to be in the club and he'll do anything to be in the club. That's why his donors, they did not have a problem with funding his campaign, right? So they don't. It's a big acting job, but they didn't want him to have so much power at the time. for whatever reasons.
And when was this
You know,
about?
what's that?
When was this about? When this was
This
about?
was 2014.
Okay.
And that's why in 2015, he said, I'm running for president
Right.
and I'm going to get even with all of these guys. And that's what he told Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. That's on the record. He said that. And nobody knew what he was talking about. But, after you look back, it's like, okay, that I get it now. He was mad about that happening. So he's uh, supposedly he's not getting even with anybody. You don't see this. He didn't get
Okay.
even with
Why did the
anybody.
club not want him to own a football team?
They were probably unsure about him at the time, but they're very sure of his loyalty now. They're very sure, or else he wouldn't have received so much, billionaire money, from certain countries, and so they're very sure of him now, and but nevertheless, I mean, listen, like I told a friend of mine, we had two choices with the last election: evil and less evil. But there's still,
Unfortunately.
those were the choices. So we had really evil on one side, and then we just had less evil. So some of the border stuff, great, but some of the ways going about doing it, a little
Right.
excessive, a little excessive,
Yes.
and we got to
Good
keep,
example
while we're
is the
talking.
body cameras.
Yeah,
I was on NYPD for a while in the early mid 80s. So I have
yep,
some law enforcement experience. And we didn't have body cameras or anything like that then. But
yep,
he knew, or he should have known, that these actions in the Democrat dominated cities like Minneapolis, LA, New York, wherever, there's going to be resistance. And a lot of that resistance can be intense and it can be dangerous. So they agreed when Holman went up to Minneapolis, the border czar, and
yep,
trying to calm down what could be a very serious development
yeah,
that could spread
yep,
all over the country because there's this element within the Democratic Party that wants a revolution. And
yep,
all they want is a catalyst. Whether it was George Floyd in 2020, whether
yep,
it was now this Alex Preddy in Minneapolis, it seems to have calmed down, but they want a catalyst to get their people to get out in the streets and burn and loot and pillage and all that other
yep,
stuff that they like to do.
yep,
So they agreed now that ICE agents will wear body cams. So here's my point, Isaac. Why didn't they do this from the very beginning? Right? Common sense.
yeah,
But when you
yeah,
got this bimbo, Christy Nome, with her
yeah,
hair flowing down and the
yeah,
baseball cap, as here it is, 99% of these ICE agents are big guys like you, probably former military or former law enforcement or whatever. And you have this girl with the fancy hair coming down, the streaks in the hair, as
makeup,
your
the
leader.
eyelashes, yeah,
The makeup. Trump seems to have like a real obsession with these babes in law
yeah,
enforcement, military, Tulsi Gabbard, you know,
yeah,
really bizarre. I mean, like he's getting entertained. So,
yeah,
all right, she supposedly may be on the way out. But from day one, these guys, for their own protection, primarily, should have been wearing body cams.
yeah,
It takes
exactly.
rioters getting shot dead for them to do. Where are the people who have simple common sense on the ground? Common
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's too easy, Ken, right?
yeah,
I mean, well, like you said, why didn't this start from the beginning if you had the purest of intentions?
right.
You said you were going to go after the hardened criminals first, get them out. I know people that was here. I know a guy, I don't know if I told you this, but we had a guy that my family knows that's been illegally here, unfortunately, for like 40 years. And he did some work for a guy, and the guy had, he's a contractor. So he did some work, a bunch of work. The guy owed him a bunch of money to get out of paying the money. He owed him like 3 or 4 thousand. To get out of that, he just called ICE,
Nice.
and he got deported. He got deported, and he had his children with him when they picked him up, and separated them and everything. So that's not a hardened criminal. I get it. He still is illegal. I get it. But you said you were going to go after the hardened, the gang members, those that are disrupt, those
Right.
that aren't
Right.
contributing anything.
That should be priority. But that's
That
a
should
good
be
point
prime.
that a lot of
Yeah.
this illegal immigrant problem that I'm very knowledgeable on that. And I was in Washington about 10 times on that issue. And I remember a retired NYPD sergeant in Yonkers, due north of here.
Yeah.
So I think I was looking for work to do with something like that. And I'm a homeowner like you are. And he said to me, just hire some of those Mexicans who are congregating up at the store. I said, yeah, but what was his nickname? Downtown was his nickname. Downtown.
Yeah.
Long story. So I said, look, I don't want to get involved with people who shouldn't be in the country. And he said, yeah, you hire them, you pay them, blah, blah, blah. So his former NYPD sergeant did 20 something, 28 years, I think. And he said, I'll just hire one of them. So I think you've seen them where they congregate, maybe not as much now,
Yeah.
but don't aid and abet them. Don't give them
Yeah.
work if you don't think they're here legally.
Yeah.
Don't
What?
just because you want something done for your
Yeah.
house
Yeah.
or whatever reason.
What about these corporate? How about rules and laws with these corporations that hire them knowing they're not legal?
Right.
I can tell you for a fact, down in New York City, in Brooklyn, in the late '70s, my stepmother worked in a sewing factory. They made garments. They don't even do that stuff here anymore. But I can tell you, half the place where she worked, we used to drop her off lunch once in a while, and half the place, if you yell green card, they go running. Okay. They were all, so we let illegals in decade after decade
Right.
after decade illegally, and we let it happen, and we allowed them to work, and no laws
Right.
prohibited.
And they got
They
used to
we did
it.
we
And
we did not enforce.
right.
We may have had laws on the book, but we did not enforce it. So
Exactly.
now you cannot knee jerk and go the opposite direction. Start with those gang members and those really bad people,
And then
get them
take it
out
from
of
there.
here, and you know, but the other side saw an opportunity. We can get in there and cause a little disruption,
Right.
cause some riots, burn a few cities down. Yeah, we got
Yes.
it. As long as people are
That's what
uh,
the Illinois
fighting each
governor,
other.
J.B. Pritzker, I don't know
Oh
if you're
yeah,
familiar with him, or the
yes,
Pritzker family.
yep,
So he's a billionaire. He owns the Hyatt hotel chains. He
yep.
certainly has a lot of people illegally, maybe
Oh yeah.
knowingly working in his hotels, paying them
Hmm.
minimum wage.
Yep.
Well, again, his family's involvement with organized crime goes back to the Prohibition era in Chicago. And he's
Yep.
governor of Illinois. So, long story short, he was invited to speak in New Hampshire, a Democratic Party function, not
Yep.
long after Trump was elected, just this time, the second time.
Yep.
And he basically said, it's on the web, him giving this speech. The time has come that we're going to have to get into the streets and protest.
Yeah.
But we know
They
it,
always say peacefully protest.
where this guy Preddy that was killed, and it's going to be reviewed whether there was legal force or not.
Yep.
And they're professional. Trump was right. He called this guy an agitator. And he was worse than that. Some of these people are getting paid.
Yeah.
They're getting
Oh
paid.
yeah.
They're part of an operation to sow violence
Yep.
in the big cities. And it's a Marxist or a communist tactic or just a tactic of revolution. You cause the violence in these places and to change leadership, to get your way. Reminds me of what de Blasio, your former fellow Brooklynite, said when the George Floyd protests were turning into riots. Protests are fine as long as they don't lead to rioting, burning police cars, attacking innocent people, destroying property, people who had nothing to do with Floyd's death. And he said to whoever was interviewing him, we are at an historic moment right now, an historic moment. This is what the Democrats mainly They really look for these opportunities to affect great change, social change, political change. And if violence is a way to do it, so be it. And this is basically what Pritzker was saying at this Democrat get together or whatever. The U.S. Senator from that state, Jeanne Shaheen, she was there. And I think she invited him. She was the one who invited him. Now, she's not running for reelection in November. She was also a governor of the state. But this is how, we're in a very, very perilous situation. Fortunately, Minneapolis seems to have calmed down a bit. But when we have governors, Jewish governor, JB, I think stands for Jew Boy, Jew Boy Pritzker, who's got all this money to take out all these ads and a very weak Republican Party in Illinois. And he goes and basically says, we're going to have to take this to the streets. We can't wait for election time.
Well, that's a dog whistle if I ever heard one,
there
right?
you go. That's a good way to describe it.
Listen, if anybody doubts what you just said, my wife and I, we were watching a Facebook video back before the George Floyd, there was Ferguson. Something went down. They were rioting in Ferguson, and this young black kid.
Brown, Michael Brown,
No,
was that his name?
no. This is just a witness. The kid, he was doing Facebook Live, I guess. I don't have Facebook, so my wife does. And we were watching him. He was recording, and he was riled up at what was going on, and he's gonna go and support and peacefully protest. And when he got there, he was recording, and we could hear it in his voice. The change was happening. And he began to say, I came down here sincerely to peacefully protest, but I'm looking around. This is not what I signed up to do. And he said, let me tell you this. I'm 20, I think he was 23, 24. He's like, I was born and raised right here. I know everybody, and I don't know anybody here. And he said, and most of these people, I saw them get off buses. They bus people in. Where did they get the?
So they hijacked the peaceful protest and turned it into basically a riot or an uprising.
Yeah,
right. It's a
purposely right. So, and then George Soros, everyone knows that he is behind the payment of all of those things, funding those things. And in some regards, I believe he's actually organizing too, maybe through a third or fourth party or whatever. Right. But yes, people want to divide. People want to divide. But the trick is not to give people reasons, right? To not to give them, like, I got to talk about this because
don't throw them red meat.
Oh yeah, exactly. So I got to say this: Trump, unfortunately, tweeted something about the Obamas as pictures of apes and whatnot.
If it was him or somebody in his, but pretty stupid, right?
Pretty stupid.
You talk about red meat, throwing red meat.
Yeah, exactly. So now you have all of these people on the left saying, "See, I told you."
Right.
And then, but here's Trump again. I'm not apologizing, dude. Somebody else did this. Just say, I didn't know what happened. Right. Somebody else did it in my camp. I'll take responsibility and I apologize if it offends anyone. But no, he didn't. So here's something else that they could really get going on. And I'm kind of surprised that they didn't use this in that way and try to really.
Right.
It seemed like it's already dying down about that. So I'm like, I'm surprised. I'm very surprised because this is like shooting fish in a barrel, man. You got it right there. Go ahead and use it now.
Right.
But thank God it's calming down. But I got to mention it because wrong is wrong. If my mom does wrong and I know it, I may not broadcast it to everybody, but I will let her know.
Whoever's wrong is wrong. Whoever's right is right.
Yeah. And I don't care if it's my brother, sister, it's wrong. We got to speak on it. So, so I had to speak on that. uh, because it was senseless, and people get their feelings all twisted and whatnot. So that's out of the way. So what do you think about this? Today, I guess the Congress received the unredacted Epstein files. So they say unredacted. So does that mean they see all of everything, or did they
No.
totally omit some things or delete some things? And yeah, it's unredacted, but they didn't say they didn't delete a few lines in there. They just took off the black lines that was, they cover it with the black strip
Right.
so that you can't see it. Maybe they removed that or just deleted certain lines and certain names. So what do you think about that? Anything going to come of that or what?
It's amazing, isn't it? I think I read today there are about 3 million pages on the Epstein files. 3
Mm.
million. This is how extensive the investigation into him was.
Yeah.
And I go on BBC.com for America and Canada almost every day. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of good reporting. There's bias, granted, and
Mm-hmm.
they love Hollywood. I mean, they love Bad Bunny, a Puerto Rican superstar, they call him in one report. So anyway, one of their reporters, he asked, this was a few days ago, with all of this information on Epstein, with all the people he was involved with, and he was being charged with not just sex trafficking, drug trafficking, money laundering. There were a whole host of charges. If it weren't for some brave FBI agents who, very brave, they knew what he was doing. The evidence had probably been there for a long time, and he should have probably been arrested a long time before. So they learned he was coming back from France, where he was recruiting some of these girls. He had two 12 years old twins in his operation from France. So he lands at Teterboro Airport in Jersey, and the FBI agents were there and arrested him. So then he's in custody, and those of us, maybe like you, who are following this, watch it. He's not going to get out of prison alive. They're going to suicide him. Within a couple of days, I heard the CNN reporter, Jeffrey Epstein found dead.
Yeah.
Apparent suicide.
Yep.
Jean-Luc Brunel was the French Jew who was his main collaborator, ostensibly, in France. He had a modeling agency, also had an office in Israel. He was found dead. Friday night into Saturday morning, hanging in his jail cell.
Wow.
Now, they ask at BBC, with all of this, and now with all these files, with all these famous people, why has nobody been prosecuted?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
With Cindy McCain, Insane McCain's widow. This was not too long after Epstein was found dead. And there was some forum, and it's on the web. There she is in her black leather pants. And whatever. Somebody asked about Epstein. And she replied, everybody knew what he was doing. Now, she said everybody. We know what that generically means. It was common knowledge in Washington and the people affiliated with Washington. It was known what he was doing.
Yeah.
Just like on Wall Street, they knew what Madoff was doing.
Yep. Yep.
So why was nobody prosecuted? Why did it take so long for FBI agents to arrest him coming back from France? Because it's so obvious. The Jewish mafia, and especially the money mafia, these people get away with their crimes because they're very rich and they're very
Yep.
powerful, and they're Jewish. That's
Yep.
my answer. Again, is it true? And did you see the laws they just passed in Australia? Hate speech laws after the
Mm.
Hanukkah killings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What I just said, if I were in Australia, I could have been arrested and charged with hate speech.
Yep.
So they want to do it here. They
Oh yeah.
almost
Oh
certainly
yeah.
want to do it here.
I'm I'll be honest, Ken. I'm surprised this hasn't come about already now
All
that,
right.
because it was the Republicans that pushed it, what, like 2 years ago. It was them that was pushing the anti-hate speech. I forgot which
Well,
senator was
Florida.
pushing that.
That was in Florida. Jewish Congressman
Yep,
Randy Fatboy Fine.
yep,
And
yep,
support
yep,
these flyers were distributed. He was a state representative. Now he's in
yep,
Congress, unfortunately. It was
yep,
all planned that he was going to get
yep,
into Congress, obviously. Trump
yep.
picked Mike Waltz, the
Hmm.
Florida congressman, to be his national security advisor. Waltz got jammed up by inviting Jeffrey Goldberg into that signal chat or whatever. It was
Yep.
supposed to be a
Oh yeah.
classified meeting. And here it
Yep.
is. He's inviting a Jewish editor of the Atlantic magazine into this classified meeting on attacking Iran. Why?
Yeah.
Well, he's Jeffrey Goldberg, and he worked at National Review, and he served in the Israeli army
Yep.
for a few
Many,
years.
many of them do.
So Waltz got jammed up, and Trump said, "You got to go." Now he's ambassador to UN. But
Yep.
so when his seat opened up, who was picked to replace him? Randy Fine. So
Yep.
Randy Fine got this hate speech, something like hate speech legislation rammed through in Florida. That
Yep.
these flyers were being distributed. They were being put on, like when supermarket circulars are passed out in the neighborhood, or flyers, or announcing some fair or whatever, and people go and put them on windshield wipers or underneath windshield wipers and on fence posts. So there were these. I haven't seen them, but they were critical of U.S. policy towards Israel. They might have gotten a bit too like anti-Jewish or whatever. I don't know. So Fine came across them and said, "We have to ban this." So now anybody who comes out criticizing Jews or Jewish organizations in Florida, technically, I haven't read the whole statute, but they could be prosecuted. So that was limited to Florida. I don't,
Yep.
the Democrats will be more into that nationally, I believe. They're far worse when it
Yep.
comes to that. And if I may, following up on that point, this is one of the magazines I subscribe to. Chronicles, a magazine of American culture. And
Gotcha.
I just read this article, column yesterday by Nima Parvini. He's one of their regular columnists. He lives in UK. Sounds like a Finnish name. And here's the title of his column: "The Zionist Politburo Cannot Purge Tucker Carlson." So the long knives are out for Tucker Carlson. How
Oh, oh yeah.
dare you bring Nick Fuentes on your show?
Yeah.
He could have
Yeah.
interviewed him and lambasted him. Oh no, you have to totally ignore him. You can't tell him the right time of day. I'm no big fan of Fuentes. He's got a dirty mouth, number one. It's like Dan
Yeah.
Bongino. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever
Oh
watched
yeah.
him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Is he from Brooklyn, by the way?
He's right on the border of Brooklyn. I feel like I grew up not too far from him, because he mentions Atlantic Avenue a lot, and I grew up right on Atlantic Avenue, well, right off of Atlantic Avenue.
And what
But
part of Brooklyn is that?
I'm right at the end of Brooklyn. It's called Ocean Hill, Brownsville. That's where it
Oh,
is,
okay. All right.
and it's right in 3 minutes you'll be in Queens.
Okay.
That's how close it is. Oh, driving, you'll be right there in Queens, where
Okay.
Dan grew up. And I used to play basketball down where Dan lives, so
Is he
I
half
probably
black?
ran
Is
into
he
him back
is
in
he
the day.
Italian black?
I think he's Italian. I don't think he's mixed with black.
Well, he's got maybe Puerto
He's
Rican, but
Yeah, no, a lot of Brooklyn Italians can be very dark. A lot
no,
of
it's
them
not just
can
that;
be
it's his
very,
speeches also. Well, anyway, I
yeah,
mean, I thought, why did he leave as deputy FBI director?
yeah. Well, you know what's interesting? He was always saying, stuff about the Epstein and the Epstein files. And then he got in, and remember that one day him and Cash Patel both were like on the same page
Right. And
where, oh,
oh,
I I saw the report and I believe the report and that's it. Close. Just go and move on. But I'm like, that's not what you've been saying for like
right.
3 years now.
Megan Kelly, I forget now the word she used to describe that, how they clammed up. I think they were on Fox News. They were both being
Yeah,
interviewed.
yeah, yeah,
So Megan Kelly was on Fox News. Now she has her own
yeah,
X or whatever. And
yeah,
I think it was something like, it looked like they were terrified when they
yeah,
were
yeah,
asked about Epstein. And
yeah.
now
And they both,
Bongino goes on X in July and says something like, what I saw at FBI as deputy director, I couldn't believe. I'm paraphrasing now. I have it somewhere on Betsy here, but I couldn't believe, we can't keep going on like this. We're not going to be a republic if we keep on operating like this. So he
yeah,
came across some pretty dirty deeds that were
yeah,
done. And
yeah,
I think they told him, you better start looking for another
yeah,
job.
yeah. No one leaves the White House, okay? Not on their own like that. You either get fired or you see something like you said. Because even remember back in the day when Obama, when what's the guy with the dirtiest mouth ever? Uh, and he's got a brother. He was in the Clinton administration. He's credited for planting Monica Lewinsky in the Clinton White House
Hmm.
and getting Clinton involved. Rahm Emanuel, that's his name. Rahm Emanuel. He was working for Obama. He was his chief
He's
of
his chief of
staff.
staff, right?
And remember, he got a job to run for mayor of Chicago. And everyone said, oh, that's a great move. That's not, that's a downgrade. You're in the White House. No one leaves the White House. You're a step away from the presidency and you're going to go take a mayor job. You got banished to the island. So you did something wrong, or they were afraid of you or something, and they just got rid of you. He was
Well,
a
they
very
had a
dangerous man.
falling out. They
Yeah,
obviously had a
they had to
falling
have a
out.
falling out.
And Obama told them, I think it's time you leave.
Yeah,
And he wound
yeah,
up
it was
destroying
something.
Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. If you go back, then Chicago had all of those bad summers
And
after
that's
him.
what he didn't even run for reelection.
No, he couldn't have made it.
That's how
Yeah,
unpopular he was.
yeah. I
So
just
just let
wanted to
me
say
mention
that to
this
prove your
about
point.
this purge. The Zionist Politburo, Nima Parveni describes this, trying to destroy Tucker Carlson. That's what they're trying
Yeah,
to do, one way or the other.
yeah.
So it was reported that Anti-Defamation League is assembling an army of 39,000 lawyers. I don't know how they come up with this 39. Why could they just make a nice even 40,000? But ADL is maybe something occultic there, the number 39
Oh,
or whatever.
oh, it's definitely.
ADL is assembling an army of 39,000 lawyers to engage in mass lawfare against anti-Semites in U.S. And just
Wow.
think of that. Now, this was the cover story. I recommend getting this, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
ADL thuggery undercover of fighting anti-Semitism.
Okay.
So they don't make it
Definitely.
easy to get back issues, but it's $10 an issue. By you want, I'll give the address to send
Yeah.
the payment.
Yeah. Send it to me, please.
All right, well, I'll read it right now. I have it written here. I had the
Yeah. Yeah. Go
email
ahead.
because it has its shortcomings. Mary Graybar is the author of the cover story.
Yeah.
Chronicles, Post Office Box 3247, Northbrook, Illinois, 662. $10 per copy.
600.
The December 2025 issue. So here we
All right.
have ADL, and she reports the last year statistics are available. They raked in about 200 million bucks in donations in 2024. I think it
Wow.
is.
Incredible.
So here we go. Second page of the story. 2024, 163 million. So Who's funding them? Probably. I'm surprised it's not more,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah,
hiring an army,
yeah,
basically of modern day Pharisees,
yeah.
to
Hmm.
terrorize people, just like the Pharisees used the courts to persecute Christ and his church.
Yeah,
They're using the same basic methodology
yeah,
to launch lawfare in the courts against, oh, what we're talking about now. All right, we don't have hate speech laws in America yet, but we can maybe sue them or threaten to sue them for slander, defamation, whatever. We're
yep,
opinionating right now. We're distinguishing, I hope, fact from opinion. That's important to
yep,
do.
yep.
But they don't want anything like this discussed in public, what
Exactly,
we're talking about now.
exactly.
And now they're hiring almost 40,000 lawyers.
That's incredible. Listen, the money that they're willing to kick out, where they're getting it from. Well, let's just say we give them a good deal of money from right from our pocketbook right here in America. It's funny how the wheel works. We give them all of this money and funding. They do whatever with the money that they want, and then they have money in their pockets to give back to whoever they want in America.
Johnny
And
Greenblatt is CEO or executive director of ADL, and his salary is 1.2 million.
wow,
That's pretty good
yeah, it is.
for
That is.
heading up a so-called nonprofit that basically just wants to fight for Jews.
Yeah,
And we, I have nothing wrong with fighting for one's people, but when you just only care about that, it seems,
yeah,
when you cover for your people when they do wrong,
yeah.
this is where we have to draw the line. And
We got
whatever
to
you
draw the
want to
line.
call it,
Yeah,
Isaac, whether it's
yeah,
Jewish supremacy, Jewish zealotry,
yeah,
fanaticism,
yeah,
I don't defend my own.
yeah.
I'm Irish Italian. So if somebody's Irish or Italian and we judge them by their character, by their behavior, by the
Hmm.
things they do, not by
Yeah,
who they are,
yeah, yeah.
they're
Exactly.
of the opinion, this branch of Jewry, that,
Yeah,
oh, but they're fellow Jews. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. But they're leaving no stone unturned with this, right? So I don't know if I talked to you since this thousand ministers and pastors
Yep.
and leaders went
Went
to
to Israel.
Israel. Okay. It's incredible that they were willing to give all of these people a paid vacation to come and get indoctrinated so that they will preach the more pleasant word. You got to couple all of this stuff to all of what you just said, then put together the thousand and influencers. They want the heavy influencers, those that have a lot of followers. That's why they're mad at Tucker because man, they say they look at Tucker and they say, boy, he's got a lot of people. If he could only get behind Israel, we can get a lot of people behind us. No one would say anything wrong. And Megan is next. If Tucker ever gets out of the way, which you know, hopefully not, she'll be next up because she's pretty fierce herself.
Candy
So
Owens, don't forget her.
yeah, yeah. So but they're leaving no stone unturned. So if like with the TikTok video I was
Yep.
telling last video we did, um, they're trying to corner everything, make everything come out beautiful,
Just like
even
that,
if it's ugly.
your son dragged up that video of Adam Presser, the
Yeah,
new CEO or whatever his title at TikTok.
yeah,
So now, if anybody's on TikTok and the name Epstein comes up,
yeah.
guess
Gone,
gone.
gone. Yeah, yeah. It's like what happened here? So listen, I want to show the folks
Yeah,
now. Epstein, clearly they show a video of the cell where he died. Some people think that he didn't die. I do believe he did, but there's a video out of a guy in Israel, in Tel Aviv, that looks an awful lot like Epstein. So I want to show the folks a picture of
yeah.
Epstein real quick here. Hold on one second. I don't know if you can see that yet. Is that picture showing?
Yes, I've seen that photo.
Oh, you see it, Ken?
Yeah,
Okay. So
I mean, I've seen
that's
it
Epstein.
before.
Okay, that's Epstein. So keep that face in mind. Now I'm gonna go to another uh video. Oh, let me say stop sharing. Yeah.
There we
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Yesterday was really good,
Sorry.
and it definitely looked like Jeffrey Epstein. But the angle that they put out today, no doubt in my mind, that is 1000% Jeffrey Epstein. Doesn't look like anybody else. But what I keep coming back to, you guys, is Epstein's been passed for like almost 7 years. So why now that they released all, quote unquote, of the Epstein files, does this homeless guy who looks just like Jeffrey Epstein make a public appearance? I know I'm not the only one that feels like that's just a pretty crazy coincidence. Oh, yeah, they conveniently got like 4 or 5 different shots of him not trying to hide or do anything at all. Just walking around in broad daylight. Nothing happens for a reason. It's probably all just a huge coincidence.
All
There is a
right.
resemblance, no doubt about that.
It's a
And those guys
resemblance.
around them look like right out of Mossad headquarters.
Hey, listen, I wasn't even looking at him so much. I was looking at the how he's dressed, but how those guys are dressed and what they look like. And they look like pretty tough guys, you
Now, who
know.
is the guy who dug that video up?
I'm not sure what his name is, but I just came across it and I was like, you know, the nose area, it does kind of look like him. I don't want to spread
Is
conspiracy
that on
theories.
YouTube or what platform
That's
was
on
that?
Rumble. That's
Okay.
on Rumble. I'll
All right.
send it to you.
All right. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So this guy is called Real Truth, Real News. So uh, he did a nice job, but he's like, yeah, it does look like him, and I'm like, it kind of does. But there's this 10-second or no, a minute that's missing from this video watching his cell, and it's like, why is that missing? You know, so there's there's some holes in the story a little bit,
Right.
but you know, is he alive? We don't know for sure. I don't know if that was him or not, but it sure does look like him.
Yes.
Who
And if it
knows?
is true, it we shouldn't be shocked because
Yeah.
when we look at the people who were around when he supposedly was found dead at Metropolitan Correctional Center, who was Attorney General, Bill Barr.
Mm.
Bill Barr's daddy, Donnie Barr, ran the Dalton School in downtown New York for rich kids. And he hired Epstein, a college
Mm.
dropout, to teach math and physics. And I forget now if it's an all girls school. I don't think so. But if it's not all girls, it's co ed.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, why would you hire, apart from being a fellow Jew, why would Donnie Barr hire Epstein, who was unqualified, to teach at that school?
Yeah.
Donnie Barr also was in CIA. Bill Barr was a CIA lawyer.
Really? Wow.
And why, when Trump, who was so ignorant
Yeah.
first time around, I hope he's a bit more unignorant or not as ignorant as last time, after he fired Jeff Sessions as Attorney General for various reasons, who did he go to for advice to pick for his next Attorney General? Who I call Mitch McChow, Mitch McConnell, who's married to Elaine Chao, who's a member of Council on Foreign Relations, grew up on Syosset on Long Island.
Wow.
Our
Yeah.
family made billions off the communist Chinese in the shipping business. This is who McConnell divorced his first wife, married her. They met at the Saudi Arabian embassy in Washington, where they were introduced. Wow. Why would you go to him, of all people, for who to pick for Attorney General? This isn't like picking somebody to run the local grocery store, whatever. This is the second highest law enforcement officer in the country after the president. And you're going to McChow, and of course, he gives him Mr. Deep State personified in Bill Barr. And Barr also, I forget the law firm, was it Kirkland Ellis? I think he worked for the law firm Kirkland Ellis, and Epstein was one of their clients.
Wow.
So what you just showed, these people have all these contacts and all these connections internationally, and they think they're above the law because of who they are and their connections. Don Barr wrote this real creepy novel. I forget when it came out. It was sometime in the 60s about space aliens copulating with humans or something. So him and Epstein may have been involved in some kinky sexual practices or whatever. And that's why he hired him for Dalton School. But all of it, I'm sure there's something about this in the Epstein files. But again, they don't want to go this far because, hey, we got some real crazy people who were into dirty, dirty things in the Washington government. And this is why I think Trump, I don't think he was involved with underage girls, but he knew what was going on.
Oh yeah,
and didn't really care because he's been a playboy his whole life. And but this is what is really frightening. That so is it possible that they whisked Epstein out of there? The FBI agents did their job. They locked him up at Teterboro Airport. He was in custody, and now something's going to happen to him. In no way is he going to trial.
No, he'll never see a day in trial. One way, you're right. I mean, they don't have a problem. They don't have a problem taking out one of their own. They do not have a problem doing
will
it.
turn on them.
That's the easiest thing to do, right? To just take them out.
Look at the Clintons. Now, they agreed. First, they defied the subpoena.
Yes.
Over Epstein to appear at the government oversight committee. I think they were basically told, look, if you don't appear, well, that's contempt of Congress. Steve Bannon did 30 days in prison. Pete Navarro, Trump's trade advisor, did 30 days in prison for contempt of Congress. Doesn't matter whether you're Bill and Hillary Clinton. You're old news now.
Exactly.
You're living up there in Chappaqua.
30 years removed from the White House.
I know the house.
Yeah.
I think I told you. I know the house. It's not a big, flashy house. It's not a dud. It's a nice house. I was expecting heavily Jewish Chappaqua that they would have had a bigger, mansion-like house. So nonetheless, they will testify later in the month. So they have a lot of prep time and stuff. Yeah. My point is what you were just talking about, giving up their own.
Yeah.
9 Democrats on the oversight committee voted to find them in contempt, to find Bill in contempt. And 3 of them voted to find Hillary in contempt. So somebody wrote on one of the websites I go on, it looks like they are throwing the Clintons to the wolves. We don't need you anymore. You're old.
Yep.
We have new leaders now coming.
It's been a good run.
What?
They just tell them it's been a good run. You did well for us.
You've had your time. You were 8 years in the White House, but now you're a liability to us.
Yeah.
And if you're a liability, we'll dispose of you.
Exactly.
This is the ruthlessness. When the spirit of Antichrist, I believe, hovers around a seat of government where they rule, and everything is about power. Who's going to get that power? We're a country that's still about 65% Christian. Where is the Christian representation in Washington?
Yeah. It's not there.
Or
I find
very
it
little.
Interesting. Very little. So to further your point, no one is more afraid of someone when they know firsthand, like the Clintons know firsthand, they're credited for getting rid of about 54 people from the time they were in Arkansas to the end of the White House. 54 people mysteriously committed suicide, end up missing, drowning, all of these
Can't
things,
all be
plane
coincidence.
crashes. So no one is more aware of the power of what these people can do
Right.
than though. So when they are told something, do you think they're going to listen?
I would
They're
hope
going to
so.
listen. They know firsthand the power of where the long arm of this, the money and all of the connections, power and money goes together.
Right.
They know. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but we have a prayerful few in this faithful few on fire, I call it, in this nation, like you, like me, and we're doing our best to spread the word and to have people, if nothing else, pray for one another, get involved, do things,
Absolutely.
spread the word without fear, without favor. If something's wrong, talk about it. If something's, if something's worthy to be praised, give credit where credit's due. Like I give credit to Trump for some of the borders closed. That's a
Yes.
beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So you don't have that going on. So you give credit, but you also say, well, wait a minute now. You can't just go
Right.
and be reckless. All right. So we have to pump the brakes there.
And
But
look
let's
at, he's
call a
planning on
spade a spade.
attacking Iran. It looks, it's pretty, there's a big a beautiful armada. He describes it right outside Iran. Iran's no threat to us. He's doing this only for his boy, Bibi Netanyahu.
Exactly.
And starting a
Exactly.
major and risking American lives, a major confrontation. Is this the beginning of Armageddon? Who?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Could very well could be. Very well could be. Well, listen, Ken, unfortunately, this is it for me. I got to run tonight, but you've been great as usual. If you want to tell the folks something like where if you want them to find you, follow you, or watch you uh something, another program, if you want to go ahead and let folks know where they can see something that you've done or whatever, that'd be
Well,
fine.
Jesus Come Back is our broadcast on Worldwide Christian Radio, and it's airing now for the first time in a couple of weeks because there was an ice storm, a very bad ice storm down in Nashville, damaged the transmitters. So normally there are two airings. It's 1 hour on Monday, 1800 hours Eastern time. We use military time because we're in a war, and
Yep.
especially Christian soldiers. It's
Yep.
spiritual war, but it's also sometimes physical war. We try to avoid that last
Yep.
recourse. But it's mainly, again, war of words and getting the message out about, what we've been talking about these past 45 minutes or whatever. So anyway, on the web, on shortwave radio, wwcr.com. And on Monday, Jesus Come Back at 1800 hours and at 2000 hours. And also on shortwave, 5935 is the first frequency, 4840 is the second frequency. And we have 3 channels on Rumble, lastly. You have 2 channels on Rumble?
I have one.
Oh, okay. So the 3 channels we have are Jesus Come Back, Christians Unite Now, and Patriots Unite Now. And the only one we do steady is Patriots Unite Now. That's Tuesday, also at 1800 hours. And we did debut finally Jesus Come Back because we weren't able to go short wave because the transmitter was not operating. So we finally did that last week. Christians Unite Now, there are about 60 rumbles of that. So they're all chronologically archived anytime anybody wants to. Just like yours, I guess, are chronologically archived. And
That's
we're
where I'm
trying to
gonna
do what you just
likely get.
described,
Yeah.
trying to identify the wicked in
Yeah.
power, especially what they're doing, what they're planning to do, and hopefully we
Mhm.
can thwart their plans and their actions. Because if nobody does anything,
Yeah.
you can rip Bible like Romans 13. Some people rip that out of context and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're supposed to obey our leaders," and
Nope.
not when they're
It's not what it's
trying
saying.
to kill us. Yes, when they are keeping order in society and protecting us from the bad people. and protecting
Yeah.
our lives and property, yes,
Yeah.
but not when they use that power to terrorize us.
Yeah.
We hear about terrorism, the Jewish groups, about the Muslim. That's all we heard about after 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Muslim extremism, Islamic extremism. Well, the groups that are doing this, it's government all too often that's guilty
Yep.
of terrorism. They
Yep.
use their paid agents and their armies, their secret police, all too frequently to terrorize their own people, and sometimes they export it. Fortunately, we're not there yet in America, but especially if this ADL gets what they want and pass, they got hate crime laws passed. They were influential. Again, this is must reading, despite the drawbacks, real good history on what they've done, the power and the influence that they have had on the federal government. They were the ones who got hate crime laws. If you attack somebody, you scream at somebody, you black, whatever, and I kill you. Well, murder is good enough for me. If you murder or assault somebody, the felony assault, aggravated assault. But now, because of what was on your mind, now it's a federal hate crime. So I'm against hate crimes in general, but now hate speech, this is a whole nother game. And what they want to do is shut us down.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
And
like
make
that video they're
everything
showing,
hate speech.
Netanyahu's TikTok. They're showing too many videos of IDF planes bombing Palestinian villages, killing women and kids. We got to destroy it, and they did.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're not afraid of the Chinese anymore. We're afraid of the Jewish influence over TikTok now. So
They
which
run
is
it. It's not
far worse.
influence. They took it over.
Exactly.
Barry Ellison and Adam
Yep.
Presser
Yep.
and
It's a done
Mark
deal.
Andreessen. He's another one now. I just came across him in another article here. I know we're signing off. Here's Mark Andreessen, egghead. He's one of these
Wow.
venture capitalists. And this also is a very informative column by Pete Gonzalez. He's very close with J.D. Vance. And he was one of the investors in the TikTok takeover.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So
wow.
They don't want, the Jewish mafia wants to operate in secret. They don't want us to report on them. Fortunately, we have platforms like this. We have magazines like this and websites. And they're, like you said, they want to get rid of us one way or the other.
One way or the other.
So that doesn't stop us. Not yet. But if they get what they just got passed in Australia, if they get that done here, then we're in trouble.
Yep. I feel like Australia is like a testing ground of sorts.
Yes.
We saw that in COVID times where they had people thrown to the ground if they passed a yellow line.
Right.
Oh my God, just body slam to the ground if you come without that mask. Oh my God. So I feel like that's a place that is just like a testing ground for the most part. But hey, we still have it right now, and thanks to you and a little bit of me and a little bit of some of our other friends, just keep talking and keep spreading the love and the peace, and that's all we can do.
And may God
None of this stuff catches God by surprise, so He's still in control no matter what it looks like. So, Brother Ken, I thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And short notice. I want everybody to know short notice. Ken got about an hour or two notice, so fantastic. And people love us together, I guess. I've gotten so many comments, personal phone calls. Man, that guy, you and that guy look like you guys been knowing each other for years. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's just natural.
I'm from the Bronx, you're from Brooklyn. Maybe that's something to do with it.
Yep. Brooklyn and the Bronx kind of have this tough guy thing, right? Probably because of mafia ties and whatnot.
More so the older school, Bronx and Brooklyn.
Yeah. But anyway, thank everybody for tuning in, and want to say good night and God bless you and stay in the battle.
You too, Isaac. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.